to the Squeaky Bum Time podcast with just Laurent. It is Monday, October 17th. In this episode, we review the Premier League week that was, well, not really, and check in on the Nuevo Classical, Liverpool winning again. And, well, not so much else because it ruined my soul. But first, I will take you through the scores as I saw them. Okay, here we go. Scores for everyone. On Friday, our beloved Brentford beat our beloved Brighton 2-1. This was an Ivan Toney game. Good stuff from him. He scored on an amazing flick, and then I think he scored a penalty, but I'd have to double check. Then the snooze fest on early Saturday morning. Jesus Christ. Leicester 0, Crystal Palace 0. I need Crystal Palace to be better, but it's not a loss. You know, Crystal Palace could have pulled this out. Leicester could have pulled this out. Blah, blah, fucking blah. Then, the first good game of the day, and probably the only really good game of the weekend, on Saturday at least, Fulham 2, Bournemouth 2, Gary O'Brien undefeated. Fulham could have won this game, should have won this game, but the 2-2 does it justice. That was the best game of the day. Gary O'Neill, sorry. I'm calling him Gary O'Brien. I'm calling him this. I'm calling him that. Mitrovic came back, but he was not good and did not have as much of his normal oomph and bounce that you'd like. But Bournemouth, I don't think they're going down now. Okay, then Wolves defeat Nottingham Forest. God, this game was also terrible. Wolves are terrible. They get a handball that allows them to score by Nieves on a penalty. Forest score a goal. That's the big news of the game. Wolves score a goal, and Nottingham Forest are just terrible. Then Tottenham win at home against Everton, 2-0. Ho-hum, Harry Kane dispatches a penalty, and then Højbjerg almost fucks it up, an easy shot at the end, but he finishes it. And Conte keeps his team ticking over, keeps the team moving. The secret to this game was Richarlison getting hurt and Basuma coming on, and that 5-3-2 a little bit different, or 3-5-2 a little bit different than the 3-4-3 that Spurs normally play. I love Basuma. We love Basuma. We've been talking about Basuma for years, but Spurs just keep winning. They're keeping pace. They're in the game. They're still doing their thing as they see fit. So they roll on, and they're still not doing it pretty, but they're getting it done. Then, on to Sunday, we have Man United 0, Newcastle 0. This was not a good performance by United. Cristiano was grumpy. He started, he came off at 70, and then for Rashford, and Rashford missed a header that you'd have thought Cristiano would have finished. So there's a little bit of trickiness there. Newcastle, they're going to be happy going to this game and getting the 0-0, and they stay where they are. Not anything to really write out about. I think Joe Ellington hit the post, but I think without Eriksen, United didn't really play well. It was Fred, Casemiro in the midfield, not so much. Then Chelsea beat Aston Villa 2-0. This is a Mason Mount game. My friend Kartik Krishnaiyer from World Soccer Talk had always been talking about Mason Mount. I talked to him about it the week before. Chelsea and Mason Mount really get this done. They grind it out. Aston Villa, I think Gerrard's going to get himself fired if he can't get another result. He may not last this week for all we know. But Graham Potter now has, I think, 5 clean sheets in all competitions, and he's got Chelsea playing defense again. This is very similar to the Tuchel time when Tuchel came in, all of a sudden Chelsea started playing defense again. A lot of changes at halftime in this game to try and get the result or to try and see off the whole thing. But, that's Potter's way. He's still working through the team to try and figure out who his best players are. I like what Potter's doing. He's not losing. He's moving things forward. He's doing what he's supposed to do as a top-notch manager, getting the team organized, moving them forward, and West and Chelsea keep pace. West Ham, after their Thursday-Sunday travails, they get a 1-1 draw versus Southampton. Sure, West Ham should not be getting 1-1s against this one. Declan Rice with probably the goal of the week in this one, pulled in from the corner of the 18-yard box, slotted it home. Really nice stuff. And to be fair to West Ham, they did come back from a paroled goal that was started early. But, West Ham are still plodding along, and Hassan Hoodle is still there. He gets his draw. He's I think they've slipped into the bottom three and will go into the table before things all kick off. Then we have Arsenal 1-0 over Leeds. Leeds dominated Arsenal in this game. Arsenal really had no right to win this game. This was a VAR game where goals were chalked off that were given. Things happened over and over again. There was a red card and a send-off at the end of the game, but VAR ended up getting things right in this one. So this was a game for VAR. It still sucked. I hate VAR. Bakary Sakho's first half goal stands up, and Arsenal grind this one out. They get one where they shouldn't have won. Leeds were really good. Marsh was really good in this one. Tyler Adams was everywhere in this. So America looking good in this one. And it looks like when Leeds have their guys, they played the four defensive players at the back. When Leeds have their guys, and Aronson was great, and Rodrigo, this was a good performance by Leeds, and they're going to really feel bad about not getting anything. Bamford missed a penalty in the middle of the second half, which was a shame. But, they get lucky. They get it done. We have to talk eventually about Patrick Bamford's hair, but not today. It's really out of control. And then when Rob Holding was on the pitch at the same time, there was wigs versus hair. It was nuts. But Arsenal get the win, and they have the best start to a Premier League season ever. Not just theirs, any team ever. They have 18. Sorry, they have 27 out of you know what? I can't do math right now. 9 times 3. They have 27 out of a potential 30 points. Not bad by the Arsenal. So they're hanging in there. They're doing well. And then, of course, the final game of the day, and where we'll get into the deeper analysis. Liverpool 1, Manchester City 0. Have I discussed how much I fucking hate this game? How much I hate Liverpool? How much I hate Anfield? Not real hate, sports hate. But then the fucking narrative shift, the goddamn plucky Liverpool bullshit. We have the WhatsApp group. Let me know if you want it. Be in it. I had to close it down because we got a lot of sex and crypto. Usually go together, sex and crypto. But I was talking to Manny, my buddy with John. We talked throughout the whole game just about what was going on, where things were with the lineups. Cities couldn't really be deciphered. The right players were on the pitch, but they were all in different places or moving around. Who the fuck knows with Pep? He's always moving players around. The official formation for City was a 3-4-3 with Cancelo and Foden as wide wingbacks. It was weird because De Bruyne wasn't really getting on the ball much on the first half, and Silva was everywhere, and Akanji played in the back with Diaz and Ake. But it moved around so much and was so fluid. It was really all over the place. The big change for Liverpool was they played in a 4-2-3-1, and that really put Mo Salah in the box as a striker. And you really got Diogo Jota, and I thought Harvey Elliott, especially first half, one of the players of the match for Liverpool, just really making things happen. First half was relatively City's half. I think, again, City early on getting 3 shots, 1 saved from Gundogan. Liverpool, Jota getting a shot saved on a header, which was dangerous at the time. Erling Haaland had a couple of really good attempted shots saved that I thought Alisson did a really good job on, especially the lob on 33 where Alisson came out and tried to really sort it out and get it done. And then it was another header saved from Haaland. So Haaland was in the game and played well. Lots of good things happened. Then I don't know the exact moment because I'm looking at a log here, But in the second half, Foden scores on a Haaland move where there's some collision with the keeper. It may have been overturned anyway. But there was a foul in the buildup, a pushover of Fabinho, and City scored. And the game had been refereed loosely. There was a lot of going on. There was a lot of fouls. Bernardo, like I said, was everywhere. I thought James Milner was fantastic. Man of the match for Liverpool, Joe Gomez was fantastic. Everything seemed to work. It had the feeling of these Liverpool games that City have played, especially at Anfield. I mean, it was intense. It was breathless. The first half flew by. I couldn't remember any of it. But I felt good about where City were. My initial real takeaways from it were, where the fuck is Kevin De Bruyne? Why isn't he on the ball more? And, the Citarati in the socials really complained about the formation. I had less to think about it. I liked how much Foden was getting on the ball. I liked the way Bernardo Silva was free to kind of bounce around. Gundogan and Rodri were really doing well, controlling the midfield and doing stuff. It just seemed that De Bruyne wasn't getting on the ball enough because he wasn't deep enough. So this sort of change and this 3-5-2, 3 at the back, City are so fluid, you can't really tell. All I could feel watching it was that De Bruyne wasn't where he was supposed to be. And the other thing that I could feel was that Gomez and Milner were really doing a good job on the Foden side of the field. And everyone was working hard. I mean, I can't really fault or kill any one player for this thing not working, or things not changing, or things not going well, or whatever. We do get the classic complaints about Pep overthinking, underthinking, not changing it. City only made one change, and that was late. Gundogan came off for Alvarez. But I kind of understood it. I kind of understood it because I think Pep sees the team as a whole unit and all the parts together. And I think he was afraid, and he thought the team was playing well enough, and they were. They were playing well enough such that if he changed one thing, how much would it change everything else? And I think he liked in the past when he could bring Foden on, but now that Foden has stepped forward, he's less trustful so far of Riyad Mahrez and Jack Grealish as guys to come on. I think, Grealish at Anfield, the game didn't feel like it called for Grealish. I mean, he doesn't have I don't know. I didn't feel like City were not playing well. I just thought that Liverpool were really good, and they were back to their best. They were back to the Liverpool that we've been thinking of. I think in the chat, I talked with Manny, and it's just that Liverpool are such a team that play on their own emotion, and what had been keeping them down and what their problems had been emotion. So they play at such a heightened level that focus that's needed at that level brings the whole thing together. All the spaces that had been problematic, all the mismovement, all the lack of sort of lackadaisical leadership by Van Dijk. I could see Van Dijk pointing around. All that stuff went out the window. And Liverpool were cohesive. Their spaces were good. They were dangerous. They were in City's face. They played really well. And so did City, to be fair. I mean, this still is the best game in the world. I didn't watch the Clasico with Real versus Barca, but Barca just aren't there mentally, and they lost 3-1 at the Bernabeu on a day that Benzema today actually won the Ballon d'Or. So right now, that game is not the biggest game in the world. It's definitely not the German Klassiker because Bayern Munich are not the best. It's not Liverpool versus Manchester United because United aren't at their best. It's not Chelsea versus Tottenham. It's not Arsenal versus Tottenham because those two teams clearly are not as good as these two teams. So I think we can reasonably say that this game, Liverpool versus Manchester City, is the best game in the world. And I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Has the two best coaches and the best team together. Maybe not the best collection of talent, maybe not all the superstars, but the team there. And then as much as I've been avoiding the goal, Mo Salah, He had come through on his own once and fluffed it, or Ederson saved one, which is unusual. Ederson usually doesn't save one, but he was good in this one. Like I said, everyone was good. Alisson was good, and then he scored one. City on a free kick, gets to Alisson, he boots it, and Cancelo makes a mistake. He's the only one in the back. He's got a hold of Salah, and he doesn't drop off. He tries to jump in and play the ball, and Salah rolls him, and he's in on his own, and he beats Ederson for the only goal of the game. Alisson got the assist, so that's goalie assist, which is always fun. I thought the changes that Liverpool made actually affected the game in the last 15 minutes. I thought that the called off goal was actually the turning point. It really lifted Anfield and City, and I think within a few minutes after that, Liverpool had shots on goal. Like the chalking off of a goal. It might have been on 50, and I don't remember. The chalking off of a goal really did put City on the back foot, and you can see it in the last 15 minutes. Liverpool were really taking it to City after they made their changes. Nunez was really good. Nunez came on with energy and made lots of mistakes. I think he had a 3-on-1 and tried to take a shot, and then he took another shot when he should have passed it to Salah. So he was in the game. I thought Carvalho came on and did well. For City, like I said, the group was strong. I feel like Diaz and Ake and Akanji were good. The goal was given up because Cancelo was there at the back on his own. And like I said, I fucking hate Anfield. It's a cheat. The fans fucking feel every pain. They kick every ball. They cheered like they were an underdog. They were cheering for throw-ins. They were cheering for corners. They were cheering for tackles. The referee playing it loose allowed for Anfield to be more in the game. So in some sense, we want the games to be reffed without fouls and without diving and all that stuff, so that the game has more flow. But in the case of Anfield, strong tackles, especially Harvey Elliott, really were an advantage for Liverpool. And then the other way, any tackle that City made, he felt like he had to call the other way. So the home field made a huge difference. And by God, I wish that fucking cesspool den of poverty and decrepity and fucking Anfield. I fucking hate it. City are now 0 for their last 20. They have not got a win at Anfield since the fucking War of 1812. I don't know when it was. And it's just painful. And the fucking narrative shift to Liverpool and them being back. And I just got so goddamn annoyed, and I've been annoyed all goddamn day with this sort of shifty, Liverpool, and now Arsenal have a chance. And again, the narrative is just against Manchester City. We're not a fucking cute story. We're not, legendary. We don't have European nights. We don't have our stadium. We just have this robotic foil for these historic clubs, and we have to suffer and take every fucking hit in the face and hear about our oil money and hear about this or that, or how this is noble and that's noble, and plucky fucking Liverpool and their dead fans, and they shouted, and there was a complaint lodged against City fans. Meanwhile, the City bus was attacked. Meanwhile, Liverpool fans are shouted for violence. But poor old Liverpool and their fucking dead fans from Hillsborough get another chance. Like, I'm not condemning. I don't want anyone hurt, and it's sad what happened. But to fucking just keep at it with this poor Liverpool, woe is me. Just shut the fuck up. You're the biggest club in the world. Yes, City have a lot of money. You're in the top 5. Okay, talk to me when you're Blackburn. Talk to me when you're QPR. Talk to me when you're Leeds and you almost fucking disappear from the league. Talk to me when you're Burnley. Talk to me when you're Brighton. Okay? You're not a small fucking club. You're Liverpool. Shut the fuck up. It's really fucking annoying. My team comes and plays and tries to win, and everyone fucking cries like a bitch all the time. So I'm taking on my own personal pain and applying it through this fucking sports land of fandom, but it's just exhausting and tiring. and I've had enough. This team City games mean a lot to me, and I wish I could have tapped this emotion at the start. These games mean a lot to me. They matter. I didn't want to watch any of the fucking podcasts, so I don't really have a lot to say about the other games because it hurt and I didn't want to deal with football. And I didn't want to do this podcast. And I didn't want to have to talk about Mo Salah again and Anfield and Klopp fist pumping and coins getting thrown. That's the other thing. Liverpool fans complaining about chants when their fans are throwing coins at Pep Guardiola. Real fucking classy. I just want these games to be wins. And this doesn't give me hope for City in difficult situations, because every time City loses or does something weird in one of these big games and it goes pear-shaped, it lets you know that there's another Madrid around the corner. There's another Lyon around the corner. There's another Lisbon against Chelsea around the corner where Pep just does a thing. And when it doesn't work, that becomes a narrative, and you feel like he's fucked it again and he's overthought it and he's been winning all these games and doing all these things, but we decide this is the game we're playing fucking wingbacks. Not that I think that that's the reason City lost. It's just, why do that? I don't understand the man, and I never will. So until City win the fucking Champions League and there's a big game or we can win at Anfield, then this is just how it's going to feel. And it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. And I hate it. And the faster this game can go away, the better. Because it hurts. I definitely put too much into these games. You don't breathe for 45 minutes. I think Manny said, these games are too much, right? You feel the anxiety in the build up to the game, and then you feel the feelings of the game. All the calls, all the fuck ups, all the players you hate who make mistakes, all the near misses, all the shots that are shanked, all the fouls that aren't called, all the cards you're supposed to get, and then you win or lose, and you're just completely drained. Either drained like, oh, you're fucked and you're dead, or drained and you feel elated, but you just can't go through it again. You just don't want to feel it again, and you want it to go away. So it is a lot to deal with. And I know it sounds absurd because it's fucking sports and none of this matters, but it's the least important thing in the world. And we got into tons of arguments on the WhatsApp group about this or that, or history, or who owns whose decades and where things go and who's appropriate and who's not appropriate. We had Klopp talking about sovereign wealth funds and how poor Liverpool can't keep up, but he never mentions the rest of the league. He's at a top of a pyramid of 92 teams, and he's the 91st best one in the league. So shut the fuck up, okay? Shut the fuck up. So we go again. City, I guess I got deep into the feelings I felt about the game. So that's where I was with that. And that's what football's about. So I don't hate the people. I don't hate fans. I just hate these games. I hate losing. I hate the feeling of them. It's just, these fucking games are brutal. And I just wanted to win one, for fuck's goddamn sake. Anyway, that's 25 minutes on that game and scores. Let's look at the schedule. I'm going to really wrap it up probably pretty quickly because I didn't really get deep into my normal cachet of watching the highlights of every game, watching Match of the Day, consuming all the podcasts. I just I'll go through the top four about what I know and what it means. We'll start with Arsenal at the top of the league. Like I said, they survive the Leeds game. It was a crazy game. The game started a half hour late because VAR was not connected. So that was very strange. They're sitting there at Ellen Road, like, what the fuck's going on? No goal line to technology. There was like a power outage or something. So conspiracy theory heads, please go ahead. I'm sure, even though Leeds are a local team, I'm sure the Leeds folks, the Yorkshire, is just going, you fucking, flash cockney fucks, uh, coming up from London and fucking them over. Leeds very famous for their passionate fans and violence. But they get that game, and these are, to use cliches, these are games that champions win. I think of Everton last season, the handball that wasn't called that City got. I think of the Leicester game at the company shot where City were toast. I think of Sterling late winner against Bournemouth in 2017 in the Centurion season. I think of Gabriel Jesus against Southampton to be a Centurion. That game also mattered. I think of John Stones off the line. No, that's more of a Liverpool game. But like shit games that you have to win that are really, really fucking difficult. And Arsenal will look back at that Leeds game, and that'll be a game where they'll go, we lost that game, and someone let us win it. And so that was big for them, really big. And so they continue on and feel good about that. Could they win the league? They absolutely can win the league. Arsenal can win the league. They're in this, okay? They are in it. They need luck. They need, it's only 10 games into the season. There's still 28 games to go. There's a post-World Cup feeling. There's injuries to deal with. There's crises. There's all sorts of things. What happens to Arsenal after 2 draws in a row and 2 wins in a row for City? Like, if they're 5 points behind, can they handle it? History says no. But they'll be there or thereabouts. I could move on to Chelsea. Like I said, I gave a little bit more in-depth description, but I think the bigger thing for Chelsea is that Potter is putting his imprint on the team. He's working through it. He's got them playing more like Potter ball. They are making moves that are indicative of a manager taking control. So we're not going to see Mendy anymore. I think Mike and I called this out the beginning of last season. One of the reasons that Chelsea looked like they were going to win the league was that Mendy was playing like a world-class keeper. And I think after those 10 games early in the season, last season, we discovered that indeed, no, Mendy was a flash in the pan, and he kind of turned back into a pumpkin. And on the reverse of that, Kepa has turned into a $70 million keeper, which is what he was. I told you guys he looks bulkier. He looks in control. He looks more like a Potter keeper who can move the ball and things moving around and popping about. And so things are moving well for Chelsea. They're still playing a little bit funky. I like how much change is going on with Chelsea. They're using all 5 subs every game. They're changing shape. Mount's coming in. You're seeing Broha come in every game, and that's exciting. But I think we'll see. Chelsea probably won't get there yet because I don't think Aubameyang is good enough. And then I don't know that between all those front players, they're all kind of the same. They need something different. And I don't think that difference is in the side. We know that Gallagher's different, but he's not much of a passer. He's much more of a traditional English midfielder. And I don't think Mount and he kind of work together because they're both workers and not passers. So they play with really good spirit. But that technical thing, what you really want is you want the technical skill of Jorginho with the engine of Gallagher. And right now that doesn't exist. And so if Conte, who's not coming back, never comes back, I feel like Chelsea are still a step behind. And then, Tottenham is hard to talk about because their performances are rough and they're boring and they're methodical, and they only get into gear when they need to. They get their goal, and they shut it down. It's very Conte. It's not as attacking. I think I remember the Chelsea side, and we remember Inter, where his teams were more attacking. I don't think that Conte trusts his defense to allow his creative players to play more. I think he knows that even though he's playing defensively, he knows his defenders should not be playing this way, so he's even more defensive. Rather than changing, he's doubling down, but then doubling down in a more defensive way. So he doesn't have the personnel to play out, to be attacking with his system in defense, if that makes sense. So he's just much more conservative, and they're winning easily. They were never under threat. Everton just posed nothing still, and there's just kind of, it's kind of sad. I talked about this last time. Everton can either be defensive or attack. They can't do both at the same time. They'll continue to be a team that plays on emotion mostly. And then lastly, I should probably give a little short shrift to Manchester United. I didn't catch a lot of this game, but I did catch the last few minutes. I think one of the things that took away the impetus from Newcastle was when Callum Wilson came off and they put on Chris Wood, there was no one to run in behind. So the last 15 minutes were really all United. I think Callum Wilson had a shot off target in the 47th minute, Almiron on 79, and then the whole second half was all United. But they didn't threaten. I think, Newcastle are a strong defensive unit, and they don't really give up much, especially when it's Cher, Botman, and Byrne with Trippier. That's a strong group, and Guimaraes is a star for them. And this team is very solid defensively. When you think about Newcastle, they were really poor defensively, and you could really get at them. But the changes that Eddie Howe made after the 70th minute, Wood on target, Willock for Guimaraes, and Lascelles for Schär. Well, Lascelles, that was late. That three-man change in the 70th minute really hurt Newcastle and gave United a shot. But no Eriksen really shows the difference. And the other thing is, Bruno Fernandes has just declined every year since he's arrived at United. He's not creating anything anymore. If I go into sort of like his deeper stats, that first half a season, he's goals plus assists at 1.14 per 90 minutes. Then his big breakout season when he played the full season in 21-22, the lockdown season, he's 0.87 goals and assists per game. The season after, he's 0.46. He's getting worse and worse and worse, creating less and less and less. Whether that's his frustration, whether that's him being exposed, he needs a new way to play. Ronaldo, I don't know what the reason is, but he's getting worse and worse in terms of creating things on offense for United. And I don't know what the reason is for that. He appears frustrated all the time. And he just isn't really affecting games the way you want him to. The other piece here is I'm looking at goal created actions. He's just getting worse and worse every year in terms of rate. Started at 0.91 goal creation, then to 0.78, then 0.28. He's not as bad this season, but just not creating enough right now. And he's an important player as a fulcrum for their offense. Maybe he needs one of those penalties to go in again. In his early days, he was taking all the penalties and they were going in. Then he missed 2 last season and he hasn't been on one since. So maybe that's a reason. I don't know. But they need him and Eriksen, someone. Maybe he needs a rest and Eriksen can come in and really get him refreshed and playing. Maybe he's nervous about the World Cup, but I think right now, you have to downgrade the creativity of United until Fernandes finds his form, because right now he doesn't have any, and he's just complaining and being frustrated. And they can't unlock Newcastle. That's not good enough. The other one is Jadon Sancho, also just complete no-showed the whole game, just not doing anything. Antony's still looking good. He didn't score a goal. That would have been his 4th and 4. So United still have work to do. I don't think they'll finish in the top 4. I still think, it's going to be, City, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea. I don't think Liverpool will make it. They're going to have a massive, massive fight on their hands. So let's go through the table just to tell everyone where we are. Arsenal have a 3-point lead. They're on 27 points. They have a 3-point lead, a 4-point lead over City. City and Tottenham tied on 23 with the exact same record. Then Chelsea rounds out the top 4 on 19. 3 points behind them is Manchester United in 5th. In 6th, Newcastle on 15. Then Brighton alone in 7th on 14. Then 3 teams are tied on 13 points. Liverpool in 8th, Brentford in 9th, Bournemouth in 10th on 13. In 11th, it's Fulham with 12. Then West Ham in 12th. Everton and Crystal Palace tied at 10. Leeds in 15th. Aston Villa and Wolves all on 9, rounding out the above the relegation zone. And in the relegation zone is Southampton on 8, Leicester and Nottingham Forest on 5. Based on expected goal difference, Fulham, the only team in the relegation zone that appears to belong there is Nottingham Forest. Southampton will probably be there, but Bournemouth on underlying numbers should be there, but they're not. They're getting very lucky. They've scored 5 more goals than they'd expect to give up. So they have been lucky, and that's why they're not in the relegation zone. So still to figure out who's going to go down. And it's not become clear yet. I still expect it to be Bournemouth, but crazier fucking things have happened. All right. I'm out of here. Oh, no, I'm not. We have games. Tomorrow and Wednesday. Holy shit. On Thursday, we'll talk about the results of these games. But coming up Tuesday, Brighton play Nottingham Forest at the Amex. And Crystal Palace host Wolves at Selhurst. Wednesday, Newcastle play Everton along with Bournemouth and Southampton. A South Coast derby. Should be a good one. Brentford play Chelsea. Yikes. Brentford play Chelsea. These are all night games. So Brentford at home versus Chelsea should be tough. West Ham, Liverpool. Liverpool have to show that they are the real deal. And they get a tough test in West Ham. We'll see where they are. Fulham on Thursday play Aston Villa. This is a winner go home. If Villa lose this game, I think Gerrard gets fired. And then Leicester play Leeds also on Thursday. These are all night games, midweek, incredible stuff. The big one is Manchester United versus Tottenham at Old Trafford. This has draw written all over it because Tottenham's not going to give up shit to United. And Kane could... This is a game where I would hope Tottenham would try to attack, but they'll sit in and just play for the draw and hope United make a mistake. And that's possible. But United Spurs should be a good one. Tottenham usually have played quite well of late versus United. I have the history here. The last game was 3-2. Oh, maybe not. Looks like United have won the last 3. They won the last 3 after the 6-1. Okay. I feel like the 6-1 was last week, but that was a long time ago. United took the last 2 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And then and they've been some barn burners. The last one being the 3-2 for United at Old Trafford in March. So big game, big game, big game. Okay. That was the Squeaky Bum Time podcast with Laurent Courtines. I am part of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Mondays and Thursdays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Thank you to the Chop Sports Network. Thank you to FanHub. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show. Please share. Please share. This thing is hard to do, and I need everybody's help to sell me, and I'm doing